Okay, this is a quick performance update. It is Wednesday, October 11th, and we are heading into the Asian trading session here. So this is a video that, or sort of a discussion that I want to do about a video that I made yesterday with yesterday's performance. So that was for the 10th of October. And I was talking about the possibility, I was reviewing a few trades that we had earlier in the day, but also talking about the possibility of trading some HL30s during Wednesday's Asian session, and that there was a possibility of getting into the trade maybe later into the London session for Wednesday, October 10th. Now, this is the pound dollar, and I was talking about the possibility of HL30s on the three majors, which were the euro dollar, pound dollar, and the dollar Swiss. Now, I'm not going to review exactly why I was talking or selecting or isolating those three in particular, but what I want to talk about is an answer to a couple of questions that I got over and over today, which was the take profit targets. So with the HL30s, if you're not familiar with the HL30s, I'll briefly discuss what it is. And these are trades that I execute with the trade copier. So the trade copier executes these trades. I execute them manually. The trade copier duplicates my behavior and opens and closes the trade on your MetaTrader platform. It just duplicates it. You can call it a robot, people call it a trade copier EA, whatever you want to call it. But basically it is me trading for you and I'm managing the trades. So in order for me to get into a trade, I have to validate and verify each and every signal that I see. It has to be according to my trade system. So this HL30 is one that I execute on a 30-minute time frame. There's very specific highs and lows and behavior that needs to be in place in order for me to determine whether or not I should execute an HL30. I'm not going to get into the details because I do have all of that information in the membership area where you get the trading course. But what we were talking about yesterday when this finally triggered was an HL30 here on the pound dollar to sell. We're trading a bounce off of the previous day's high or low, and in this case, because of where price closed relative to the high from the previous day, we were looking for trading a reversal here on the pound dollar and the HL30s. So when we trade the HL30s, this is what I say a lot in my coaching course, in my chat room with my coaching students. We have to get our expectations in line before we even open a trade. It's very important that we know what it is that we're going to do, how long it could potentially take for a trade. Now, nobody really knows for sure how long it's always going to take. Things can change. But in general, you've got to give your trades enough room to move around. Maybe it's slow during one particular session, like maybe the Asian session, so you might have to wait until more economic data is available during the London session. That might cause a little more activity. There are different variables, and that's going to change all of the time. All we can do at the time we get a signal, when we've got confirmation, is execute and then just manage the trade using the appropriate stop loss levels and take profit levels. So the other discussion that we had today about the trades that we were executing in the chat room, I was talking about this with my coaching students, is not only getting your expectations in order, knowing how you're trading and how far you expect price to move. So with an HL30, even though it's a bounce off of the previous day's high or low, it is somewhat a reversal trade, but it's very short term. We're trading on a 30-minute time frame. We're trading a bounce off of the previous day's high or low, which is a move. In most cases, there's some kind of trending move here, which you can see right here where I'm moving the cursor. And it's just a pullback in some cases. It's not always a complete reversal where it's going to come back down the opposite direction and create a brand new trend line or a trend direction. That's not what we're necessarily doing. That might happen, and it might develop later on after we get the HL30 trade. But the HL30, all we're doing is trading to a 20 pip target and a 20 pip, using a 20 pip stop loss. That's it. If it goes further than that, which it does in many cases, then we'll continue to trail the trade. But the other discussion today in the chat room was that you have to lock in profits. You have to make sure that according to each trade technique that you use, if there's a precise entry, a precise stop loss, and a precise take profit level, you have to lock in profits at those levels. If you want more out of the trade than the profit target that you trade it normally to, based on that system or that technique, then you either need to scale out and peel off a portion of that trade that you have opened, the position, or open a second lot with that first initial entry, so that you can close one lot at the first target and then close the second lot at the second target. That's really what I talk about quite a bit with the HL30. So that was the technique here with the HL30. So with the HL30, here was the first target on this reversal here. It was a 20 pip target. So the first take profit level was 1.3183, which it hit, and it just kept bouncing around. Now, in order to trade it for more, or to try to earn more on this trade, and you may have heard me say that sometimes you can earn 60 pips on this trade, even though we're trading it to a first target of 20 pips, the way to make more out of the trade is to scale out at the first take profit level, lock in those profits, approximately 20 pips here, and then let the second target, or let price run to the second target, which is 20 pips further from the first target. Sometimes it hits the second target. Other times it won't hit the second target. Every day is a little bit different. But hitting the second target, that happens often enough to allow for, or to prepare for the opportunity. And that's why I talk about trading the HL30 with two lots. Now with the trade copier, you might be wondering, if you're watching this on the trade copier page and you're not in my coaching chat room, with the trade copier, I'm only going to execute one lot. I can't execute two lots. That would change everybody's dynamics. Everybody's got a different goal. Everybody's doing something different. Everybody who uses the trade copier, some people only want one lot executed at a time. Other people will set up the trade copier to open multiple lots. Everybody's doing something different. So with the trade copier, it is somewhat limited because I have to only execute one lot. So I can only manage the HL30s to this first target. Sometimes if price drops right through the first target, you can see it and it's kind of obvious that it's going to go quickly to the second target. If that's the situation with the trade copier, then I will hold on to that first one and only lot that I open with the trade copier and let it run right into the second target. Otherwise, I have to lock in profits at that first take profit level, while everybody else, especially my coaching students in a chat room, they trade with me. I actually trade live with them. So I'm calling out trades with them, and I will tell them exactly what I'm doing. I'll tell them that I'm locking in the first half of my position here at the first lot, but I'm letting the second lot run. And if it runs right into the second target, then I identify that, I call that out in the chat room, tell them that I've taken profits here. Everybody else should do the same thing. So everybody else is able, the other coaching students, they're able to benefit as a result of doing exactly what I do. The trade copier can't duplicate exactly what I do because there's limitations. If I was to scale out with the trade copier would close the only lot that's open on the trade, and then it would reopen it here at that exact take profit level, and then it wouldn't make any sense. Very often it would just completely remove or delete, almost to a certain degree, any profits that were made on the first trade. So I can't scale out with the trade copier. There are limitations. That's why you make a lot more being in a coaching chat room with me, where I'm actually trading with you live and I'm calling out trades. But the trade copier does a fantastic job. I mean, with the trade copier, you can earn 400, 500, maybe 1,000 pips on a really good month. With me coaching and trading, it's not uncommon for us to clear well over 2,000 points every month as a result of executing these. And you can see why. If you're in a chat room with me and I call out an HL30 and it hits the first target for 20 pips, and then everybody else is doing the same thing in the chat room, in the coaching chat room, and I'm walking you through this, and you're trading with me, and you trade the same HL30, you get it in the same location, but then you're trading it to a second target, you're earning effectively 60 pips, when other people are only making 20 pips on this trade because it only hits the first target. Now, obviously, in this situation, and this is why we're talking about this one in particular, this one only hit the first target. It never really went down to the second target. It went a little bit closer to the second target there on these two dips here, but it did not hit the second target. So we were only able to earn 20 pips on this trade. But very often with HL30s, if we're scaling out you can earn 60 pips. So I'm sharing this with you so that if you're using the trade copier and you want to execute these trades on your own, you're going to have to use 2 lots on these trades when you open the position and then close the first lot when it hits the first target, and then change the stop loss at that time. We don't change the stop loss until price has hit at least the first target. If it doesn't hit the first target, you never change the stop loss. We only move the stop loss once price has hit the first target, and then we set the stop loss at a break-even stop loss to protect the profits that we've earned on that first take profit level. That way, just in case, like it did yesterday, if it turns around and goes back up, then we don't make the profits on to the second target. That second lot closes at 0. We still lock in the profits on this trade here from the entry to that first target. It's very important that you understand where you're trading to, like what is it, how far do you think price is going to move to, based on the trade. Of course, if it's an HL30, we know it's always going to be a 20 pip target, at least for our first target. And then the other thing is to make sure that you pay yourself. Make sure that you get paid for the trade. I know how, I did the same thing. The psychology, money issues, all of that gets the best of you. You're in a trade and it hits the first target. You're thinking, well, I've only got 1 lot. I can't afford to put on a second lot. I'm hoping that maybe it'll hit the second target. I'm just going to go ahead and hold on to it. And then it doesn't do that, and it turns around and you get stopped out completely and you make nothing on the trade. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's tempting. And sometimes it'll work, but don't do that. You have to make sure that you're getting paid. You're here to trade and you're here to make money every opportunity that you possibly can. And this is one of the ways to make sure is to follow the plan. Take your profits at the specified levels based on these entries, the technique that we're using. For example, the continuation breakout trade. The continuation breakout trade has a target of 55 pips on the majors. If we trade a continuation breakout trade on the pound yen, it could potentially pay anywhere from 150 to 250 pips on the trade. So again, you have to take profits at these specified levels and make sure that you understand, when you get into the trade, you know what it is that you're doing. You know which tool, in a sense, that it's a specific trade designed to allow you to trade in this type of market conditions, this price behavior, this action. We're just trading off of the previous day's high. With a continuation breakout trade, you're expecting the trend to continue after the breakout. So hopefully that'll clear up some of the questions that I received. In the chat room, though, I walk all of my coaching students through this. The coaching chat room is very, very, very different. It's an expensive program, and it's very different than the trade copier. But the profits that are available, that's for hands-on traders. It's for people that are looking to trade every single day. They trade nonstop. They don't have any other job or any other work that will interfere with their ability to trade around the clock with me in the chat room. So again, hopefully that helps and clears up some of the misunderstandings with the HL30 trade. So far this month, though, we haven't had any losing positions. All of the trades have been winning trades, including this one here. And we're looking for more as we speak right here through the Asian session.